Hey guys, welcome back. Tisha here, back for another Real Housewives of Atlanta review. Season 16, episode 12, The Frack is back. Before I get started, I want to take a moment to recognize the fact that it's Memorial Day. I always struggle with saying Happy Memorial Day because it really isn't a happy time when you think about it, because it's a time where we set apart to remember those who have fought for freedoms and who are no longer here. So I just want to take a moment of silence to recognize that before we get into this review. And I want to say to those who continue to serve and to those who have lost people because they have served, thank you and we honor you. So we begin the episode with Kelly and Shamia. Kelly comes over to Shamia's house to hang out at the pool. They pop bottles, and Shamia, I noticed, takes her bottle to the head. Kelly wants them to bring the group together, and she suggests that they go on a trip. Now, if you've been here long enough, you know that this is the cash trip, and we're just being told basically that Kelly and Shamia are going to host it. This is their way of doing it. So she wants Shamia to guess where the trip is. She tells her it's near the Caribbean waters, and her first guess is the Maldives. I said, baby, Lord Shamia, Lord. That is not the Caribbean. She takes a whole bunch of guesses. After a lot of guessing, we find out that they're going to be going to Grenada. While there, they will provide aid because there are several people who were impacted or displaced by the hurricane. So they call Randall, who is, I guess, with, or I don't know if he's the head of, or he's just with the tourism board, to find out what it is that they're in need of. And he lets them know that the main thing that they need at this time are supplies for diabetic patients, as well as toiletries and clothing. Now, Kelly is excited about doing this trip. And I will admit, I love when they do trips where they give back. One of the trips that will always remain in my mind when it comes to this franchise is when the ladies went to Africa, because despite their differences, we saw how they showed up for children at the orphanage and children that they just ran into on the road, and really like bought out a lot of the store in order to bring aid. And I think that that is a moment where we get to see the other side of the ladies. I get that they want to show us their Balenciaga and their Chanel and, you know, all those other name brand things that we saw this episode on the show. But it's nice to see these other moments. So Kelly tells us that she is looking forward to this trip because she has been drained going through this divorce that she's been going through for 2.5 years. It's made her mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially drained. She has to pay her attorney $158,000. That's how much she owes him, because we see a clip of her telling that to her family. I wonder if that's how much it costs over time, or if that's just the remaining balance. But hearing that number is alarming to me, because I'm watching the way, and I guess Kelly has it. I don't know her coins, but I'm watching the way that she's spending money, and I can't help but feel like, girl, you spending all this money on this other stuff when you're really kind of need to be focused on the fact that, you know, you got to get through this divorce first. So she says she's overwhelmed with it all, but she's still making sure that she is showing up for her girls. I would love if Kelly was not such a follower, and if Kelly had taken a moment to have conversations like these with Drew, because I think that Kelly and Drew would actually be able to unite on this and maybe even support one another, because unlike what we see Portia going through, there's a lot more involved with these two people, because they both have children with the person that they're trying to separate from, and it's been extremely messy. Now, Simon's been running his mouth, but it's not to the point where she is being made to feel uncomfortable in her home, or, you know, things of that nature. So speaking of Portia, Miss Diane, and Lauren do what we've seen them done, or not them, but we've seen Portia do over multiple seasons, which is look at a house. They're looking for this home for Portia. This place that they're looking at is the first place, and it has 8 bedrooms, 7 bathrooms, and it's listed at $4.2 million. I do not understand why Portia, PJ, and the little doggy need a home that is this huge when it's just the two of them. I think one of the mistakes that's made oftentimes with a lot of these people, and I'm not clocking anyone's money, is that they make purchases based on the fact that they're on this show and they're doing what they're doing now. Portia has admittedly stepped down from from certain roles in terms of work, that she lost a significant portion of her income, and you're just now coming back to this show, coming back to this franchise, trying to get your Pampered by Portia back on. I don't know how well her Go Naked hair is going, but the point is, you're looking at this huge, extravagant house, and it's just you all. I think it's a bit much. It has a spa and a media room, but what do I know? Because I definitely would never have that amount of coinage, and I think if I did, I don't think I'm more of a practical person. I wouldn't want such a huge house because that huge house has to be clean. And I don't want to hire anybody to do something that I'm capable of doing. So for me, it would be a no. But for her, it's a yes. So Portia thought that she was going to have this one life. We know that that one life was she thought she was going to get to be like Shamia and enjoy her husband's money. But that's not what happened. And it ended up ending. So now she's having to try to pivot. And she says she's having to start a new life. I wouldn't say a new life. I would say that you're having to adjust. So she's anxious because with her previous divorce, she was this traditional wife and she was left with nothing. But this time around, she's actually coming in with something, and she is not going to be leaving empty handed. So she let her sister and her mother know that she's about to go on this group trip. Lauren asks if they're going to be staying at the same house based on what she saw the other day. Portia tells her that Shamia and her have spoken about it. They deaded it. They're in a good place. They need to let the girls know they are good. I don't think that Shamia and Portia are really in a good place. I think that at this point, Shamia feels like they're in a better place. Portia is tolerating Shamia because even when she brings Shamia up later on in the episode, when she's talking to Phaedra, she kind of hurries up and rushes past Shamia. Like Shamia is being said to be by Phaedra like a cool girl, like she likes her or whatever. And she's like, yeah, I didn't even know y'all really knew each other. But let me tell you about Drew. Like they're not really that great. So we get a clip of Kelly making Coco look ugly again. I do not understand why Kelly is subjecting this dog to eyelashes, colorful hair, animal print on her body. Like, it's just too much. It's too much. And whether or not you claim that the products that you're using are animal cruelty free, I think you're being cruel to her by keep on having her have to spend a day getting dyed, and it's just too much. You could give her a facial, you can get her clean and trimmed and groomed, but doing all the other stuff to me is unnecessary. So Shamia goes to the Big Tigger show at V103, and she takes this opportunity to not only talk about her music, but to point out the fact, because they mentioned something about another castmate, that Drew's music has never been played at that station. She talks about how, unlike Drew, she's authentic with her music, that Drew doesn't speak 5 languages. So when she starts off singing about 5 languages, you already know that it's not true. At this point, in my opinion, if you disagree with me, that's fine. Shamia deserves whatever she gets, because Shamia sounds foolish talking about how Drew is lying and she's inauthentic in her music, when that is what happens a lot of times with artists. We've seen it with rappers and we've seen it with singers. We've seen it with people who write books and do poetry. Like, you don't have to always give everything in a performance like your business. You could be talking about somebody else's business. I just hate the way that Shamia, at this point, you gone down bad. Like, I'm looking at you like you're a clown. This is not new. Um, what did I put? Oh, this is not new in terms of the fact that artists don't always present with the things that are going on in their life. Calling her a lapdog, in my opinion, doesn't warrant this disdain that she now has for Drew, especially for you to come on a radio show and speak negatively about her when at one point you all were cordial, or at least I thought. So we go to Britt, who is talking to her husband Mike about her bare naked event. That event, ooh, okay, we'll get to it. She wanted to begin this business at the same time as she had her insurance agency, but now that her license is on hold, I don't really know what that means, that her license is on hold, because Britt tends to say things that aren't true. But now that her license is on hold, she has more time to focus on it. It's a shapewear that you can wear that's supposed to feel like nothing's there. Hence, the whole bare naked. So we go to Angela and Charles. They're at investment property number 4, and things are not up to par. This is a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2,056 square foot home with a listing price of $465,000. Now, when she originally listed it, she put it at $499, but they have since reduced the price multiple times. I do not understand why Angela thinks that a home that isn't even completed in like the blinds and the installation and the way the door looks here and the way that the blinds are messed up here and the different things that we were being shown on the screen that need to be worked on, why you think that you would get what you want for something that's not complete. That's my first thing. I also don't understand how, if this is something that you do, you would think that people would want this house, considering that you've dropped the price of it so many times. When it comes to searching for a home and you see that a house has been on the market for so long, let's say that she's had that house on the market for, I don't know, 2 to 3 months, right? Or we'll say a month, since a month ago, they had the flashback with her talking to this guy who said he could do all these things and the house would be able to be sold after 10 days. If you had that house on the market for a month and you changed the price 3 times, people are going to think that when a home inspection was done or when people walked through or whatever, that they found out things about that house. So they're not going to want to buy it. So because of how things are going, she dropped the price yet again, y'all. They crossed out the price and put 388. So she now went from asking for close to 500,000 for this house to now 388. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets knocked down again, or if whoever goes to try to purchase the house gives a lower offer. She is still 2 million in the hole because of these 7 investments. With the way that she keeps on going on about these houses, I think that she may want to look back at things and see if this really is for her, or if that is even the climate right now in Atlanta, where people will want to buy those homes for the price that she's asking. So she brings up her mom again and how she bought that $490,000 house, or how many, almost $500,000 house for her mom. She lets Charles know that her mom and sister went and bought another house, and Charles was like, well, for all of that, they could have bought one of these houses. Angela's is getting a little teary-eyed, and she starts talking about the argument between her mother and Charles, and how, she didn't realize that, she wasn't listening to him, but she's thinking back at it. And after hearing her mother's side, she's realizing that she was acting wrong. And I'm like, Angela, this was 3 years ago. How are you now just realizing this? And why are you just now apologizing for this? And Charles is looking at her like, I already told you, what happened, what it was. So now she wants to apologize for not hearing him out. She asks him for a hug. He tells her she should hug her mama and cry, but he hugs her. She then brings up Britt's event and how even though they haven't been seeing eye to eye, she's invited to this. It's a cast thing. Charles was like, okay, so since you haven't been seeing eye to eye, I don't have to come. She's like, no, I want you to come. You don't have to say anything. I'll speak on behalf of both of us, because Britt has been saying things about Charles. He probably doesn't really want to go, but he does show up for her by going. So it's the day of Britt's event. We get this nice aerial shot, right, of the grounds of the country club. You see beautiful flower arrangements being put down on the table. Everything looks bright and beautiful. But then as they're walking through, we're seeing that there are things that are not completed to Brit's specifications. Like, you don't even have product out for people to see. The bare naked backdrop that I saw at one point being inside or moved inside was then moved outside, and it doesn't look great to me. Hold on a second. Sorry, somebody's alarm was going off and that was going to be really annoying. Anyways, so back to the backdrop. It looks ashy. Like, it looks like, what are we doing here? What is going on here? She tells her I don't know, her assistant. I didn't really pay attention to what he was, but she wants bare naked on the television. Like, she wants that up there. Basically, hook the computer up to the monitor. Producers ask her what bare naked has to do with golfing. We know it has nothing to do with it. This is just where she wanted to go. Long story short, she wants the ladies to dress up. That's that. Also to see how she lives. So they walk to the back area. As I said, nothing is set up. It's 5 minutes until the event is supposed to start. Britt is talking about how the lady needs to hurry up and get set up and put up her signage and whatever else. But I don't even know what lady she's talking about, because we don't see her really address that. Now, we do see her talking to a lady later on, but she's talking to that lady as if she's not the event planner. So I don't know who the event planner really is. So Kelly arrives with a beautiful bouquet of flowers. Shamia arrives and she's asked, Britt asks them the dumb question of how they like it. Ma'am, they cannot tell you how they like it because nothing at this point is set up in the area where you have them at. She said this is her letting them see her letting them see her neck of the woods, them getting a taste of her life. Kelly points out how, if this is her neck of the woods, none of these people are even acting like, they know her. Kelly, I don't think it's her neck of the woods, but I also don't think that just because you live in the area, everyone knows you. I know that there are people that I speak to my neighbors when I see them, but it's not like that. I know where my man lives. Only, yes, the same thing. Like, they'll say hello in passing, like if we're out, walking the dog or something like that, or if we're getting out the car, coming out, like they'll speak if they see you, but it's not like we know people. And everybody isn't friendly, because one of the neighbors, she don't say nothing, like she always got her face balled up. So it varies. Anyways, so Shamia points out that they're dressed up. I'm going to add like they going to the Kentucky Derby or something with these hats on and stuff, and they're expected to golf. Britt says, yeah, we're just going to go hop in the carts and go. They look foolish. They are on the green hitting balls while wearing heels, some of them stiletto-like heels, which, if you're a woman, if you step back on that heel, or if you actually put weight on the heel, and especially if you got some meat to you, you're going to sink. So they're hitting balls on the green. Portia arrives, but she's not where they're at. She goes to this table with one of Britt's friends, because it says Britt's friend, and Britt's friend doesn't even know what this line is about. She's thinking it might be cosmetics. If this is supposed to be something that you've wanted all this time, I would have thought that you may have mentioned it in passing to someone who the production team is making sure they point out is your friend. I understand moving in silence, but something about this makes me feel like you pulled this out of nowhere, especially because you have no product to show us other than what the ladies end up getting. So production brings up the fact that Britt and Portia's businesses have some similar names, and they say this to Portia, and Portia's like, wait, what you're not going to do is you're not going to act like there's some copying going on. I've had my company for over 10 years. Put some respect on that. So after the ladies he'll tear up the green a little bit, they come back. We see Drew and Angela arrive. Angela is cordial, as is Drew. Portia wants to know what's next. Portia's like, let's move this thing along, because at this point, I'm just sitting out here and I'm not seeing any product or anything like that. I'm just sitting at a table outside with no AC. So she says, we're going to have brunch. We're going to go inside, and I'm going to do a little presentation on Go Naked Hair. Drew tells us that she's there to support, even though she doesn't know what this is about. They go inside and Cynthia arrives. Britt is trying to figure out what's going on, because there are people that are seated that are not supposed to be seated. The only people who were supposed to be seated were the Housewives. Everyone else was supposed to be standing up and having light bites. I don't know what light bites are because we didn't see them have any type of bites at the tables they were sitting at, but they're supposed to have light bites. I think all they're supposed to have is like maybe some water or something. I don't know. Maybe some champagne, but light bites. She's like, so now people are thinking that they're going to be eating because the event planner put down additional menus. Why was it not discussed prior? I don't blame the people for wanting to have a seat or for asking for a seat. I would have wanted that too. You have these women and men dressed up. The women in particular's feet are probably hurting in the heels that they're wearing, and they're going to want to sit down based on how lengthy this presentation is. So Britt comes back to the table complaining about how the event planner messed everything up, but you did too, because you're supposed to give all the specifications, and we never saw this event planner. Did the event planner make the menu, or did the event planner handle the decor? Did the like, what was the event planner responsible for? Because you do have those who handle everything. So I'm just wondering what was said. So Portia tells us that, this isn't a good look. You can't come to a party in Atlanta or plan a party in Atlanta and you think that you're not going to serve food. Like, people are coming expecting to get food, and if there isn't food, you're going to get talked about. So Britt comes to the microphone, and rather than really going into details about it, and I'm saying that she didn't go into details because at first I thought maybe it was a production edit, but Portia had to ask her, like, what made you decide to come up with this later on when she sat down at the table. So she doesn't take this time to have like a PowerPoint or anything on the screen. Instead, what she does is she tells the people that she has gifts for her most beautiful ladies. They're handed boxes. And then we kind of see her sit down. Did you cut something out? Because this isn't flowing to me. So Shamia's acting all extra about the box. I was about to show y'all my bra. That's inappropriate. Let me grab this instead. So Shamia's opening up the box, and she's like, yes, yes, yes. Shamia, Shamia. Shamia is so excited about what looks like a piece of negligee. It's black and it's in her, her box. That is too extra, right? She's excited about her piece. The other ladies are smiling. She then tells us that, the box was actually kind of bare naked because the only thing that was in the box was that piece. She didn't even have any tissue paper or anything in the box. She's doing that, and the audience is looking around like, why are we here? Because we're not being showed product. So she has on the television screen a before and after as she's telling the ladies at the table about how it holds you in. But we didn't see you tell that to the rest of the room. It's like you had these people come here just to make the room look like it was full. The side-by-side shot, if there was a slight difference, but here's my thing. If you're going to show me a before and after of you in the same outfit with the product on versus not having it on, I want you to be in the same exact stance. So in the before, her legs were spread apart like this. Then in the after, her legs were closed. So you're creating an illusion in my mind that this is helping you so much more. But I don't know if I really noticed that much of a difference. If you watched it, you guys tell me if you noticed a difference. So she gives Portia a small, and Angela gets an extra large. There is nothing extra large about Angela, maybe with the exception of her feet. So I don't get why you would do that. It just goes to show you're still being shady. And Portia clocks it. Angela says maybe she got confused with the size of her toothbrush for her big mouth. I laughed in that moment because I'm like, Angela, girl. So Britt let us know that she started the line because that's when Portia asked her about it at the table. She started the line because of the fajas. She said the shapewear, but to my knowledge, they're called fajas that she had to wear when she got a BBL. She felt like it was uncomfortable. I know someone who had a BBL. Actually, I know multiple people who had BBLs. And the reason why they are uncomfortable is because the faja is designed to keep everything in place and to smooth you out, especially because when you get a BBL, you get fluid built up. So the only time they really take off the fajas is when they do like their lymphatic massages to get the fluid out. And also, like if they jump in the shower and they're supposed to put it right back on, you got to wear it a lot, especially right after surgery, because you want to keep that hourglass shape. So I don't understand what one had to do with the other, because I don't think you're going to be able to use Brit shapewear in replacement of the faja. So she then claims that she took her staff to Miami for their birthdays and let them all get some work done. I don't believe that. So Brit asks Angela how she's enjoying the event. She's like, I'm just happy to be here. And she then takes this time, Angela does, to announce that Charles does not have a side baby. I said, Angela, girl, why are you doing this right now? Why are we talking about the whole side baby thing right now? We don't care. Britt says, I'm not one of Charles' whores either. And Charles let it be known that he does not mess with whores. So Britt tells Charles that, it was a joke, that she made, that I could be one of your whores. And Charles, like, that's not a joke. He puts his hand up like, yeah, we're not gonna go there. The ladies claim that they are good. It's also fake. Drew thanks Britt for the invite, but feels like they should have a conversation after this, because we get a flashback of, I guess, at Portia's Pamper event, her and Britt kind of went at it. Kelly then adds, yeah, and when you do have the conversation, make sure you're telling the truth. Kelly, I need you to be quiet, and I need you to stop deciding to pipe up for everyone else's beef. It's giving follower, because there's no reason for you to have an issue with Drew. So Drew says, always, baby, get to know me. Like, she always tells the truth. I don't know if you always tell the truth, Drew, but I also don't like this side of Kelly, because Kelly is speaking on things that she knows nothing about, because she's telling us how I don't know much about Drew except that she's a liar. Who told you that she was a liar other than the ladies? Because she hasn't lied to you. So we get a clip of Drew saying that Michael Jordan was her cousin. I never took that seriously. I took it as a joke, which is one of the reasons why I got annoyed by Angela calling his son to find out if they were related. Shamia tells us that, yes, she is 1,000% a liar. It's a wonder why Drew's nose doesn't grow. If she's a liar, Shamia, you are. So is Portia. So is Britt. Like, it's a cast of liars. So let's not just call out this one person. They talk about 2 weeks ago at Angela's son's birthday party. And apparently Kelly, is my assumption, ran back and told Shamia that she got called a lapdog. Drew said, I made that comment because you took back information that wasn't true. If you take my words and twist them in effort to stay in Portia's good graces, I don't respect that. Drew is right. I agree with Drew in that moment. Shamia tells her that's harsh. And Drew was like, no, what was harsh was you taking a conversation that was good and putting a negative spin on it, because that's not what it was. She says, you definitely put fire to something that's already smoking. Thank you, Drew. Drew, I'm liking the fact that you clocking it this episode. I need you to do more of this. She tells us that, Mia has all this energy for her, but she doesn't have that energy for Portia. Hence the lapdog comment. She could be a poodle. She could be a schnauzer. She could be whatever type of puppy you like. True again. I'm just saying. So Drew is like, listen, I own that I called you a lapdog, but I was not trying to hurt you. You hurt me. Shamia says she's not listening. I'm not listening to you calling me a lapdog. I'm not listening. I'm not listening. She even turns her back like this. She's like, she can kiss my ass. I'm not listening. If you're not listening, why bring it up? If you're not listening, why did you say, why did I get a caught stray? Why did I catch a stray? You shouldn't have said anything if you weren't willing to listen. I feel like Shamia, you going out bad. So Drew is telling her sometimes, we say things when we get hurt. Her said that Shamia proceeds to bark like a dog and tell Drew to kiss her mother effing butt. Shamia, it's not that deep. She calls her itch more than once. Shamia, you're whack for this. If you really had an issue about this with Drew, you should have called Drew on camera or met with Drew prior to this? Because you're doing all of this, and I thought it was so funny how Portia did not say not one word while you was doing all of that. She let you look like the hot mess that you currently are. I don't understand the barking like a dog. Drew wants to know how old we are. Shamia says in dog years or human years. Itch, calling her out of her name again. I don't like Shamia. The course has ran. I tried. I was open. I thought Shamia was going to be a good, look for the beginning, but Shamia, episode after episode, you get on my nerves. So Britt stands up and tells them, like, we're at a classy establishment, ladies. We're not going to do that here, ladies. And if you have issues, what you need to do is you need to take it outside. So Portia looks at Shamia and she finally says something. She's like, don't take that outside, which I agree because it wouldn't have been good. Cynthia says, if you really want to move on from the issues, then you have to act like it and you have to actually move past it. But she doesn't want to move on from it. It's clear that, in my opinion, she's trying to pick up Portia's beef. So Drew is about to be assigned artist. Before she decides to sign, she wants to talk to Dennis to clear up the lies that are being told. So she FaceTimes him with her, I believe it was her road manager or some type of manager, and she fills him in on what was said by Portia, that Drew tried to make a pass at him, get free studio time. Dennis laughs at the statement. Dennis says, we do real business. Studio time isn't free. We are working on you walking in your purpose. Sounds great, but Drew, at what point do you hold Dennis accountable for the things that he is allowing Portia to do and say, as well as hold Portia accountable? Dennis needs to talk to Portia and tell her to stop telling the lies, because unless he were to do that, I wouldn't have allowed him to be a part of anything that I'm signing, because Portia is going to continue to go after you and spin this narrative that you like sitting on hot dogs, which is exactly what she did when she gets with Phaedra. So Drew's like, she believes him that he didn't say it, and she can move on with Dennis because working with him has been good. So they're now officially partners. So we get to Portia and freaking Frack. Portia heads to Phaedra's house. They are reunited. They hug and squeal. Phaedra lets us know she's back. Okay. She's back to where she really wanted to be, which is off Married to Medicine, back on Bravo, on Real Housewives. It's probably a better check for her. And she I think she will do better with these ladies, because the Married to Medicine women, they got their own little situation there. Yeah, anyways, she can get away with not telling any of her business on this show. So the last time we saw her, she says, wasn't her best moment. I still think it is messed up that they allow people like the Phaedras of the world, who went as far as Phaedra went with damaging claims against Todd and Candy, to be back on television. But she's back. So we get a flashback of her story. In my opinion, they brush over what she did, because what she did was messed up on so many levels, especially because Candy was supposed to be her friend. You were in Candy's wedding and you did that to your friend. But y'all gonna brush over it like it wasn't that big of a deal, because the only reason why she was off this show for so long is because Candy was up there and Candy refused to be up there when she was up there. Let's call it what it is. So they catch up. Portia is back in the sheets yet, but Phaedra lets it be known that she is with a 30-year-old man, that the two of them, even though they had their ups and downs, her and Portia have been good. Portia then fills her in on the girls. Faye says she met Kelly. She says she's giving Garden Gnome and she's giving Smurfette. She says that she has a fetish for little people. That's not cute. It's not funny. I don't like it. She chuckles about it. Bravo, you should have left that out. Britt is mentioned. Faye says that she was a woman of the city and the counties too. Or did she say countries too? I think she said in the country too. And she has more bodies than Willie. And we know Willie is, a part of the funeral home business. But, she's married now. Shamia, she says, is good people. Portia hurries up and changes that subject. She brings up Drew, if she knows Drew's working with Dennis. Phaedra wants to know if she's selling hot dogs. And Portia says no. Apparently she was sitting on the hot dog. Drew is better than me. because the way that I would have already gotten with Fallon to gather information on Portia and bring it back to the show, I would have had Fallon film with me and some more stuff, because you aren't going to keep playing with me in that regard, acting like I'm doing something with my body that I'm not, especially when I'm going through a rough divorce with my current husband. Feifei said that she thought Drew was into tacos, implying that Drew is fluid and that she likes both. Next thing you know, Charles Oakley comes up. Phaedra says she didn't know he was married. Portia is laughing and she's telling us this is the Kiki that she needed, a healing Kiki. Portia tells her that they are going to go to Grenada and she wants to invite her. So she calls Shami and Kelly, and it's official. Whether they said she could come or not, she was going to come because the show cleared it. It's clear to me that they brought back Phaedra to be messy. And I don't really like that. But, it is what it is. It's going to bring a whole nother dynamic with these ladies probably going at it. If there's something that I missed that you want to talk about, feel free to put it down below. Until next time.